Hi everyone, today is going to be epic. It's my first collaboration video, and what better way than to start than with a fight. Okay, that needs context. Recently, I challenged the unnervingly productive YouTuber and all-round creative problem solver, who is the amazing Tom Littler, to a Notion productivity build-off battle. Say that in a hurry. And well, we are on, and you get to enjoy the spoils of war. Notion war. Okay, I'm milking it. Hello, welcome back to Better Creating. If you're new to the channel, my name's Simon, and this channel is all about simplifying creative life. So I make videos about productivity, intentional living, and creating better content. And of course, let's not forget, a lot of content around Notion. And so in this video, Tom and I are going to pitch our Notion system ideas against each other and share 5 of our favourite ways to use Notion to be more productive and add value to our lives. I guess it's up to you guys to decide on which idea of these 5 is the winner. You can comment below. And you can see the other 5 over on Tom's channel right now. So I've linked that in the end of the video and in the description. Whatever you do, make sure you go and check out Tom's channel. And of course, as he would say, bang subscribe. Now when I discovered Tom Littler's channel, I couldn't believe how much we had in common. He makes great content on productivity systems and mental models. We both live in London, we ride motorbikes. I genuinely think I found my nemesis. Come on then, Mr. Littler. What you got for me?
Okay, Simon, I'm going to start off with something very short but very, very useful. And to be honest, this little hack has been the main reason that I've been able to implement journaling into my daily routine, a habit that's eluded me for so many years. And the idea is simple. If you have an iPhone, all you need to do is tap 3 times on the back of your phone, and then your journal is going to appear for you. And really, this might sound like a bit of a gimmick, but it's actually pretty profound, because what you're doing here is eliminating the friction between you and getting to the place you want to be, which is your journal. So if you want to get this set up, it's actually really easy to do. The first thing you need to make sure is that you've got a shortcut set up on Notion to get to the page that you want to, which in this case is going to be your journal. If you haven't already got a shortcut set up, I'd recommend that you check out Thomas Frank's video on Notion shortcuts, which is a really great one to watch. And then if you come into your phone, go into settings, and then come down into accessibility, then go down into touch, and then scroll to the bottom where it says back tap. And then here you can actually select for a double tap or a triple tap, double tap or triple tap, which of the shortcuts you want to open. So in this case, I've got mine set to journal, which is here down in the shortcuts. I've also got an example where I used to have this set up for resonance calendar. So you can set it up for any system that you want, but the idea is you want to do it for something that you're finding hard to do at the moment. So, you know, for me, that was the journal. For you, that might be something else. So they are something very simple and very significant. I would not want to follow on from this one, Simon.
Okay, strong start, Tom, strong start. I can see how that back tap feature is actually a brilliant way to remove the friction of journaling regularly. It's really great for logging daily habits and practices too. However, I think I can see your automation and raise you another. I've been using Notion to run my freelance life now for about a year, and by far the biggest impact it's had has been to keep track of those varied and multiple projects that come up, using my weekly review formula. It's for my projects database, and it's probably the simplest and most impactful feature I use in Notion to manage my time and remove stress. Who doesn't want that? If you want to know more about this system, I have a full guide to how I built it on another video. I'll link it above, but here's a quick explanation of why I think it's so useful. And of course, if you're a regular on the channel, feel free to skip to the next one. So if you're a freelancer or you're running a business or a side hustle, you'll know it's really easy to feel overwhelmed and worried that things are slipping behind, and this totally solves that problem. The formula and dashboard filters projects to be shown to me when they need to be reviewed. And every Friday, I'll set that so that I allocate an hour to review the projects returned by the system. And I'll just click into them, so I can click into the project page. That will then show me all the things I need to see, like all of the to-do lists. I can look over it all, plan what I need to do, what projects I might want to do or defer. And when I've finished it, I can just click on last review. If I can do it here, I might have looked at my R&J digital project. I can just click on here, say it was done, and it disappears. It's also a really great way of keeping ideas and potential projects alive, things that don't necessarily have a due date or you're not working on right now, your someday maybe list, as David Allen would call it. How many times have you had those kind of great ideas and then they kind of got lost because it wasn't the right time? A great example of this is my bucket list. It's got tasks in it that don't have due dates, but that are things that I want to get done, and it'll remind me of them. I always get a big picture view of what's going on in my life, prioritize what really matters, and all because of a simple formula in my Notion dashboard to make life better. Beat that, Tom. Beat that.
Okay, Simon, setting the bar pretty high, pretty early. Nice one. I can really see how that weekly review system of yours would take a lot of the stress away from working on multiple freelance projects. But for me, the most game-changing effect that Notion has had on my productivity is just getting into the habit of shipping things every single week. I come from a software development background where we're always asking ourselves the question, how can we deliver value to our customers in the shortest amount of time? Now, when you're working in a team, you're often working in something called a sprint, and this is a 1 week time period where in that time you're getting together a product and you're shipping it to customers. And if you keep doing this week after week, you start to iterate on your product, you can get feedback, and it's a really powerful way to work. Now, I tried implementing this on my own, but found it pretty difficult because if you don't have the momentum of a team pushing you forward to make sure that you get that work out of the door, it can often be tempting to just say, oh, it will wait till next week or the week after. And that's why I put this system together in Notion, to make sure that every week I'm delivering projects on time. So the ideas are pretty simple. I've got a project database set up here with a timeline view, and all I'm doing is every week creating myself little projects that I want to be working on, and these are usually week-long or 2-week-long projects, and then within each of these projects I'm then creating tasks that are related to them. So this is an example of a video that I want to put together, and here I've got the task of researching the title, script, filming it, etc, etc. And then I just break this down into the tasks and put them into my calendar so I can see every single week what I've got coming up. And the beauty of this system is that I'm, before starting the project, setting an end date, and then rather than letting the project run out of control and keep adding things in, I'm actually doing the opposite. And if it's getting to that end date and it's looking like I'm not going to achieve what I set out to, I'll actually think about, right, how can I take work out of this project? If it's a YouTube video, maybe it's how can I edit it in a slightly quicker way, or how can I cut down the script? And this really helps me just get into that process of every single week getting something out of the door. So there you are, Simon. I've shown the people how they can deliver something week after week, which if they do over a period of months or years, is going to yield them absolutely massive results. But what have you got for them?
Nice, that's pretty cool, Tom. To be honest, we probably need to have another phone call because there's loads I want to ask you about that system since I've started putting out digital projects like my Notion templates. Now, I'm going to return fire, everyone, and this one is both to respond to that and that journaling hack. I think it's so easy, right, to see Notion as a platform that's just to get organised and put things in order, right? It's a database-led thing, but it's also actually a great place to automate and inspire the messy parts of a creative process. I decided, if you've seen my previous video on the channel, to emulate the Stoics and build 14 templates in my Stoic journaling app that helps me do regular reflections. It focuses your thinking, weekly, monthly, all of that, the big questions. But my favourites are definitely the ones which help shift perspective on big ideas, big problems, or help you get out of creative ruts. 2 great examples of this, bring it on, Tom, are my 12 questions for creatives or entrepreneurs. I can't say that word, entrepreneurs. They help you kind of guide you through an exploration of your thinking, your vision, your view of how your work is at the moment. It helps you explore your process and generate new ideas. And what's cool is that my journal system has a tag system that allows you to reference subjects so that you can search and resurface them later on to add value into your projects in the rest of the system. Or how about this, guys? A 3-step exercise inspired by Tim Ferriss and his concept of fear setting. Bit like goal setting, it's designed to define your fears and help you work out what to do or not do in order to overcome them. By understanding what you're scared about, what your fears are, you can ultimately overcome those and design a better life. So it helps you define your fear, explore what might be preventing you from repairing or dealing with those results, and come up with benefits and costs that might come from dealing with it or not dealing with it. I think that that system is a brilliant way to get decisive and clear about what you want to do with your life and with the projects that are, causing you hassle. So come on then, Tom, beat that Notion gem, bring it on.
Now, the highest impact thing I do in Notion doesn't have anything to do with productivity or time management or second brains. It's actually to do with something far deeper, and that's how I think. I'm going to quickly show you a system that I've put into place into Notion which helps me think better every single day. I call it the decisive mind, and it's been an absolute game changer for me. So let's take a look. So the backbone of the decisive mind is this decision calendar, and the idea here is what I'm trying to do is think about things a little bit more intentionally and not just make reactive decisions, actually take some time to dissect the different elements that make up a decision so that hopefully I can make good decisions and live out a better life. Now, to help me make these decisions, I've put together different frameworks, and these are based off of the people that I think make the best decisions in the world. So this could be top businessmen, or it could be really great writers, or people who I just think very clearly. Now, one of the examples of these decisions is something called the regret minimization framework, and this has been pioneered by Jeff Bezos, and all of these frameworks follow a similar pattern. So the first thing I'm doing is just giving a bit of background about what the decision-making framework is, and then sort of times that you might want to use it. And then the most valuable thing is that I have a sort of step-by-step worksheet to help guide me through the process of making this decision. So the first thing I'm going to do when using this framework to make a decision is first list out the things that I believe that I'm going to regret when I'm dying. And this is just quite a cool way to look at the world, because you'll realise that when you're making a decision in the heat of the moment, some of the things that you think are important probably aren't that important, and it just really helps to clarify this by writing them down. And then I'm just going to weigh up the different regrets and weigh the two options. So the example that I've used here is if I wanted to start a business selling my art versus not starting a business, and comparing that to the different regrets that I might have when I'm dying, and then just trying to see from both of those decisions which one is going to lead to the least amount of regret, and that is the decision that I would usually end up taking. Now, I've got a ton of other different decision-making frameworks, one which is revolving door decisions, and this is the idea that when you make a decision, you always want to try and think, can it easily be gotten out of? Can you easily reverse the path of that decision and come back to where you were? The other one is first principles thinking. This is something that I really struggle with, but the idea being that when you're thinking about a problem, you want to reduce it to its very fundamental principles, and then from there you're going to be in a much better position to think of a solution. Then we also have sort of the classic decision-making balance sheets. This is just literally writing out a big pros and cons list, putting a weighting to each of the different elements, and then deciding based on that what decision you're going to make. Finally, we have second order thinking, which is just a way to think about the long tail consequences of a decision that you might want to make. And each of these frameworks has their own worksheet and their own examples, and I've just found this a really cool system to help me put things into perspective. Now, 6 months after I've made the decision, it's going to come into this to review column, and the idea here is that I'm trying to get better at decision making by constantly reviewing past decisions and sort of deciding if they were good or bad or what I could have done better at the time. And all I'm doing here is coming in, reviewing my thought process at the time, and then just giving the decision an outcome. And this has been pretty helpful as me as well to sort of think about decisions that I made, and maybe ones that I thought were good at the time but actually turned out not to be good, or maybe the other way around. Just quite an interesting way to view the history of the decisions that you might have made. And this is what I really love about Notion, the flexibility of it as a tool, the way that you can combine databases and relate them and do checkboxes and put processes in place. It just means that really the systems that you put in place to support your life are only limited by your own imagination. So I just highly advise if you take anything away from the systems or anything that I put in place, don't necessarily be looking at all of the most obvious things, the most obvious time management systems or the most obvious to-do lists. You can really think outside the box in this and just think any part of your life where your human brain is slightly letting you down. How can you put a system in place that's going to help you support that? And that is why I love Notion.
Thanks, Tom. Some really cool systems. I'm definitely going to go and check out how I can use Notion to hone my decision-making skills after that one. Okay, everyone, let us know in the comments below which of these systems would you find most useful. Don't forget to go and check out our other video over on Tom's channel for another 5 tips, and make sure to subscribe to him while you're over there and check out the rest of his content. Thanks for watching. If you found this valuable, make sure you hit the like button and simmer down. The fight's over. See you next week.